Hey guys, this is the guide for my Luminary, my Luminary Frostblade build. This is a build where what I league started here at the 3.29 league. Where's things? Okay, there you go. All Flame League. And it's been going very well. I just wanted to share with you guys how this build has been and what I've been doing in this build. So typically, Frostblades are generally played on Warden, Slayer, Berserkers. It's a easy, pretty, pretty much known elemental build that takes the support gem Trinity to scale dual. I'm talking about cold and lightning damage, elemental DPS. So I have been doing the same thing that any of these berserkers or slayers or wardens would do, but just playing it as a luminary. Now I will get to the part when I can tell you what are the differences from these other ascendancies from luminary. Firstly, you start with this area here. Initially, you do not necessarily have that much good damage nodes, right? So these are all like at axe speed nodes, and up until the point that you come to, I believe, at least here, this cluster, or if you choose to go in this cluster first, the Forces of Nature cluster, you pretty much do not have much damage from the tree. So league starting with it, I thought that my damage is going to be very low. To be honest, it wasn't that low. Mostly because I was being able to get good weapons from the 3.29's Curse of the All Flame league mechanic. If you run the early games, what will you call them again? Charts? Then you can basically get good gear. I'm talking about sword, claws, dagger, whichever one you get that has the most DPS. If you use that, you're pretty much going to be good in terms of damage, right? So that is not going to be an issue. Now, why Luminary? This would be a big question. Now, Luminaries can use permanent mercenaries, and this is the mercenary I'm currently using. It's a Thunderquiver. The main reason for using him, oh sorry, it's a her. Main reason for using her was to get couple auras, Wrath and Precision, and getting these auras scaled, because when you take these bestowed knighthood ascendancy point, you basically increase the effect of the non-curse auras cast by your mercenary by 50%. So this ends up boosting your damage quite a lot. You can see the damage from my path of building, but just to give you an idea, currently if you take a look at my tooltip, it is showing as 172. If I just get inside a zone where the mercenary will be enabled, remember it was 172, right? And the mercenary is with me. She's giving me precision aura as well as wrath aura. If I go show you this would be 370. It's almost giving me double damage, because wrath aura, while boosted by 50% increased effect, is very strong, because it's it gives flat lightning damage, and in our build we have a very good source of increased elemental damage. If you take a look, there's 35% increase, 32% increased. I don't think I have any increased from the gear, but we do have a lot of elemental damage increased nodes, right? All of these actually boosts our damage quite a bit. The other thing is that precision itself is also boosted by the increased area of increased effect. So it gives us quite a lot of crit chance. Now, if I show you my crit chance right now, it is at 73, but when I popped this flask, Jade Flask, okay, I can pop it from here, so here goes to 76. When I get the power charges, and also when I keep on using my Frost Blade, I get these like inspiration charges. It goes quite high, right? Let me show it again. Yeah, it goes quite high. But from POB, you can pretty much see that because I'm also using Assassin's Mark, it is giving me plus 1.5 to critical strike chance, and with all these things together, you have pretty much 100% chance to crit. Let me show you my path of building. This would be the easiest way to show this build. Right, so this would be, as you can see, my crit chance is 99.61%, pretty much capped, and my crit multipliers exist. Now, question is never that is Frostblade good? Is it able to clear the in-game contents and whatnot? The question was, why Mercenary? Now, Mercenaries, when you initially look at them, they do not do much, right? But if you are building your Mercenaries properly, then they actually give you a lot of things. What do I mean by that? So if I am going to basically explain what you are getting from this Mercenary, is that with this node, Loyal Bodyguard, you're basically getting 20% less damage taken from hit. All these things that are written here, it basically boils down to you taking 20% less damage from hit, because my life is 4.6k and my Mercenary's life is 4.8k. If Mercenary's life is more than your life, then the Mercenary takes 20% of the damage from that you would have taken. And it does not matter if Mercenary takes the damage. Mercenaries barely take any damage. My Mercenary's life, I haven't probably seen her life drop below this point ever, and I probably dropped to that on Cortex fight. I don't think even in this Shaper fight she dropped below that. So this is one thing we're getting, 20% of damage reduction for hits. Then you are getting 2 powerful auras. Well, Wrath is definitely a powerful aura, and Precision, which can be called the powerful aura in this build, because without Precision, my accuracy rating does not hit 100%, and my crit chance is also lag. You take a look at that. Well, what does it say? 73%? Let me just go to my hideout so that the Precision aura is no more. You see that my hit chance is 93% and my crit chance is 56%. So 56 to 71, that is quite a bit of a jump, you know? And Precision seriously gives you that. And all these things I have said boils down to why I chose this Thunderquiver Mercenary. Thunderquiver basically gives Wrath and Precision, but she also is a Lightning Arrow caster, attacker. She also brings Wall Lightning Arrow and Storm Rain. Storm Rain, I believe this Mercenary to be very good in terms of AI capability. She knows when to use Storm Rain on bosses. She's just going to spam these two. Storm Rain when the Wall Lightning Arrow is not up, and Wall Lightning Arrow when it is up. She does not use Lightning Arrow on boss fights if there is a single enemy. Not just boss fights. I am currently doing Bestiary, right? So in Bestiary, She also just uses her Storm Ray. She does not use Lightning Arrow. She uses Lightning Arrow when she's killing white monsters. She's very good at that. Now, Thunderquiver also brings Assassin's Mark, but despite that, I'm still using mine. The reason being, with quality, Assassin's Mark can be made so that it gives you chance to grant power charge on hit. Currently, with 20% from the gem and 10% from the socket, I'm getting like 7% chance to grant a power charge. This is enough for you to constantly have power charges on all boss fights, so that is a good thing. So what other things does the Thunderquiver bring? Well, I have geared her with very good lightning based, actually tri-elemental based gear. This is the bow. It has a lot of damage. The helmet has just life and stuff. Then she has a good quiver. She has this amulet, this ring, and that ring. Take a look at that. The ring has curse enemies with elemental weakness on hit. So I have decided to give her the Whispers of Doom so that she can apply an additional curse. Without this, you won't be able to apply elemental weakness on the boss. So right on the get-go, she's already bringing us 2 auras, which are very powerful. As you can see, that it almost doubles our damage. And she also brings an extra curse, without us requiring to invest into additional curse, because she takes care of it with her amulet, so that we can go for something different. I chosen to go for the gain power charge on kill, the Disciple of Forbidden. Apart from that, she is pretty much geared toward damage on her other nodes, right? She also drops sapped ground while moving. Now, let me show you something. What happens is that Thunderquiver is a ranged character, right? So she generally is a bit far away from you. And the sap ground, it lasts only for 2 seconds and she drops it while moving. So the technique that I used is that, let's say Zana is the boss and she's like here. The Thunderquiver is here. What I do is that I go to boss and then I use the order to me. What happens is that she comes here and then, you see, she drops the sapped ground. And it lasts for on the boss for a couple seconds. You can spam it pretty much, and that allows the sap to be up for, I would say, 20-30% of the time on the boss, on your rotation of other skills if you do that. But even if you don't do that, the rest of the things that Thunderquiver is bringing, she does very well. Now, initially, I thought that Thunderquiver is not going to be a good mercenary because she does not have an infamous version. I believed that Thunderquiver is not that good because she is not infamous, and only infamous mercenaries actually do have higher base chances. I believe this not to be the case, at least with Thunderquiver. If I show you the base stat, this is my infamous combatant. If I go to the passive stats, you'll see pretty much the same thing that you see here in terms of offense: 197%, 40%, 44% attack speed, 88% critical strike multiplier, 156%. I'm not gonna read everything, but you can see if I go to the Thunderquiver, oh, this is not the one. This one is the one that I'm using. I've been rotating and testing stuff with my other 2 slots, but almost the same thing, right? If anything, she has extra 44% chance to shock and increased effect of shock. So that's just extra on the top. I have tested with many shot. The thing is, Ice Shot is much worse in terms of coverage, with at least the infamous mini shot that I have got. She is so much better with her lightning arrow with a GMP being mandatory. All these other things, they might as well just not exist. But I also have return, which somewhat helps in terms of covering enemies, so that she can apply elemental weakness on more enemies, right? So she does very well. But even without all these buffs that she's bringing us, she actually is bringing us a good bunch of damage. Now let me show you that another thing I'm using is Destructive Link. What it does is that your mercenary's critical strike chance becomes yours, and additionally the mercenary gets 49% critical strike multiplier. So generally your mercenary does not have a way to scale crit that well, right? But because I've already showed you that my crit is maxed, when I go to a map area, let's go here, and use Destructive Link on her, it pretty much lasts forever because of this node, Oath of Fealty. She gets the 100% chance to crit, and additionally she gets a lot of crit multi because of some sources, which I will explain to you right now. She has a base 88% chance to critical strike multiplier, right? With 88, she additionally gets crit multi from the amulet. It's 31%. I think from here she's not getting any more. She is getting where's my Destructive Link? She's getting 49% from Destructive Link because she is hitting the marked enemy, assassin marked enemy. She's also getting 49 crit multi. So all these things put together, she gets somewhere around 230, 240 crit multi. It's not as good as mine, but from anecdote I can tell you that she does around 1/3 of my damage. All right, and I consider this to be very well, considering how much she buffs me. So if I'm doing like 4 mil damage, she's additionally doing an 1.3 mil damage, which I consider to be very good, considering she's bringing so many things. I've not shown you the gloves implicits. She's also bringing intimidation as well as maim. Maim may not be the optimal thing. I don't care. I like the enemies slowed because, as I said, with Lightning Arrow she has a lot of good coverage. Why wouldn't I want maim on them additionally? And intimidation just basically makes the enemies take more damage, 10% more damage, so it's also welcome. So what it boils down to, you picking Mercenary over something like Berserker or Slayer or Warden, is you get 2 extra auras which are powerful enough to double your damage. You have 20% buffer of damage taken, 20% damage less damage taken from hits, and you get a summoning minion that does about 1/3 of your damage, while it's not ended yet, while bringing an additional curse on hit and occasionally sapped ground droppage, right? I consider this to be a very, very powerful combo, and I was having a lot of fun playing this character. Now I've heard that some people are having bad time with it, with the mercenaries as a luminary, saying that the luminary is not carrying you over. I think the main reason I did not feel that way is because I went with a hybrid approach of making my mercenary both give me buffs to do damage as well as do damage with the Oath of Fealty node. Now the other options that I actually considered was that going for the rings and legendary arms, which would allow me to equip unique weapons, shields, and quivers, in my case only with bow and quiver, and also 2 additional rings, unique rings. The reason I did not actually go for it is because there is not, apart from Tempest, I cannot think of a single unique bow that is going to work well with the Thunderquiver mercenary. And even after that, I do not think it can beat this bow. It has, I believe, around 1,000 DPS on that bow right now. And I bought it for moderately cheap. Okay, but I'll get to the gear cost and all that in a bit. I'm just trying to tell you that Mercenary is giving you about 100% more damage, 20% damage taken from hits reduction, and an additional 1/3 of damage, with an additional curse and intimidation as a utility bonus and occasional sap. I consider this to be a decent trade over something like Slayer or Warden or Berserker. All of them has ascendancy points that actually give you something that is useful to you. Luminary has access to the Mercenary as a permanent minion or party member, not necessarily party member, let's call it ally, and it gives all sort of things via the Mercenary. Now while I was using her, I did not have much of an issue, but I can understand that someone who wants their Thunderquiver mercenary, their mercenary to be, any mercenary to be doing a lot of damage. I do not think I was feeling that way myself. I never felt that my mercenary is going to out damage me. I always looked at her as that she's going to be a secondary auxiliary support to my current kit. So yeah, that's about it in terms of what's been going on. As I said, that in terms of tree, what I would say is that if you start as a Luminary or a Scion, start from this path and rush to either Dagger node or the Claw node or the Sword node, depending on which weapon you got. Oh, sorry, this one is the Sword node. That you got is the best damage dealing weapon. And with the introduction of the charts and Curse of the All Flames, I found that getting weapons are quite cheap, quite easy. You can get a usable weapon very easily if you just run the charts early on. But as couple days or 3 days have passed in the league already, I believe you can also just buy stuff, so you wouldn't have to even buy leveling gear, so you didn't have to even bother yourself with the leveling setup. But I would say that if you are starting the league with a Scion, generally just get weapon that is good and just either go for one of these clusters, and also maybe this one. This one does indeed give 24% increased damage. This one does not do much in the early game because enemies generally do not have much penetration to begin with. So 10% is not that significant in that order. You'd rather be better with percentage in elemental damage. But you can take a look at all these things from the path of building. I'm not going to go through them. All these things that you're seeing, the lethal prides, the Watcher's Eye, you have 4 aura, so it's much easier to get a decent Watcher's Eye. But you can take a look at all of them from the path of building. What I would say is that I have League started with this character, so anything that you can see in this character, you can farm it while League starting. So you can say in a way that you would not need any of the gear that I'm going to be showing you, or any of the jewels and stuff in order to play this build. You can start the game naked from the Twilight Strands. Okay, naked may have been a tad bit vulgar there. From scratch, and then you can just go on. Let me go over the gear. This Whitewind dagger is the best in slot in terms of offensive power at a budget. I initially thought that I'll be replacing it with another dagger and a shield combo, because Whitewind is very good if you are not using a shield, right? If you use a shield, then it's not gonna be that good. Next up, I bought it for, I believe, 1 or 2 chaos. It's very cheap, pretty much no one uses it. The one thing I would say is that the lackings that you have from the shield, you kind of make them up with the extra evasion and the suppression. I am suppression capped on this character, but barely. I mean, it is literally 100% because of the 40% roll on the Whitewind. If I had 39%, my suppression chance would be 99%. Similarly, what similarly? Okay, whatever. So this is the dagger. It's by far the cheapest item, and this has carried me the hardest. Can you imagine that? This is probably 2 chaos or 1 chaos that I bought on day 1 after reaching Blood Aqueduct, and went to level 66, because this is the level that you can equip it in. Next up, let me talk about the helmet. All of these items, they were so bad. Okay, my current one I'm pretty happy about, but I have bought these. I bought this for what? I believe 20-30 chaos. I had a 1 chaos helmet. Alright. I have kept on upgrading my gear because I was having fun with this character, and I thought that, yeah, let's spend something. But let me see if Faustus has some of the gears that I actually had. I think this was, yeah, this would be the one. They didn't sell, huh? This is the helmet that I was using when I just started mapping. This would be the gloves that I was using when I just started mapping, and this would be, okay, I was using a 5 link. This would be the body armor that I was using when I kind of got some currency. I bought it for 40 chaos, so when I had the cash, I could grab it. I had another body armor with a 5 link that I found from the market for 1 chaos. It had very poor rolls, like 120 life, and that's about it. Nothing else was relevant. You can take a look at these items and see that they're decent, but truth be told, I have done most of the content of this game. By most content, I mean, I'm talking about, I'm still like, okay, not this one. There's the map one. I pretty much finished the 100 maps with very poor gear. Alright? So if you just play it, it's gonna be possible with much less powerful gear. But if you wanted to just take a look, these are the items. Now, one thing I would say is that in your gloves, you need to get 2 implicits, the Val strikes, as well as lightning exposure, because you mainly do cold and lightning damage. If you take a look at the Frostblade, you mainly do cold and lightning damage. Currently, that lightning damage is showing a lot lower than it should because I'm not currently under the influence of Wrath, which is provided by the Mercenary, but these are by far the most highest damage that you do. And from your gloves, if you take lightning exposure, then you can also use Frost Bomb to get cold exposure. And the benefit of using cold Frost Bomb is that it actually reduces the life regeneration of the enemy by 74.5%. So that is going to be the good thing about using this dual exposure setup. In terms of Link, I'm using Frostblade, Blood Rage. These are all stuff you can see. One thing I would say that I'm using Val Lightning Strike only to generate Rage. On bosses, I have the Lightning Strike, faster attacks, and Rage connected. All I do is literally drop them. The Val version of the Lightning Strike constantly pops off, and it just generates Rage for me. That lasts about, I believe, 6 seconds. And within this 6 seconds, if I can't kill the boss, I drop another, because while Lightning Strike can have 2 charges. Most of the time, within 12 seconds, general bosses die. Unless you're fighting some phased bosses, then it's different. But even then, you'll have enough damage to go through them, as far as I can tell. Right? Next what? These are the flasks. Honestly speaking, if you just take a look at the path of building, it has everything. I'm just trying to give you guys some idea about like what are the options that you can go for, and is the Luminary build going any good or something, right? What else? Cannot actually think about much. On rings, you either need to go for minus mana cost of non-channeling skills, or get this one. This is the second best in terms of fixing your mana issue. So on both rings, I have actually gotten this. So that's another thing that I wanted to tell you. I used to use Fortify as a gem, but I replaced it after getting the melee hits of 7% chance to Fortify. It is consistent enough. I think 90% of the time the Fortify is there, including the bosses, so it's good enough. Also, if you do not, in the early game, when you do not have non-Val Strike skills, you basically swap either elemental damage with attacks with or the invert of the rules support with the ancestral call support. Similar for the fortification, you choose basically your invert the rules, and elemental damage support is the last in order of importance. So you cannot change Frostblade, you cannot change Inspiration, you cannot change Trinity, you cannot change Multi-Strike. These 4 are constant. If you want to make change or add Fortify and Ancestral Call to your build, you do it in place of elemental damage with attacks and invert the rules. Now, the reason I have used invert the rules is actually very cool. It's a very powerful support gem. Now, my build only has, if I show you, only has 10% pen, right? And that 10% pen for fire, cold, and lightning, this is coming from this node, Forces of Nature. It does not have a lot of pen. Endgame bosses tend to have resistances like 60 plus, 66 or something, last I remembered. If you penetrate 10% of their damage, you are not doing that much of a damage. Now, another option can be you may be opting in for a penetration gem. Now, first issue would be that, by the way, Trinity also gives you some penetration. I'm just trying to tell you that. See, you also get additionally 16% penetration, so it's actually 10 and 26. But what the invert the rules support gem actually does is that it inverts the enemy's resistances, meaning if the enemy has 66 resistances, it makes it so that 38% of the time, actually not 38, because from this mastery point you can get additional 15% with, so pretty much 50% of the time you're gonna be penetrating 66% of their monster resistance, right? If you are going to be using a penetration support, penetration supports give Lani, it probably sells gem, right? Let's go to Lily, sorry. If I go to any of the penetration, let's talk about cold pen, right? It gives you, okay, at max level it gives you 34%. It's not max, but I can tell you that at max level it gives 34% pen. You have 16 pen from your Trinity. 16 and 34 is what, 40, 50, and additionally you have 10 pen. Right? So the issue is that if you want to use a penetration gem, using either cold or lining is not going to work, because your damage is split between cold and lining damage. So if you go for the cold penetration or lining penetration gem, then you are going to miss the penetration part for the other element. There is a way that you can probably use elemental penetration gem. I'm talking about, is it not working? Elemental pen support. Let's see. So what this one does is that gives you additional 29%. So with these you can have around, I would say, so 10, 16, 14, 15, 60, around 60 penetration. So if an enemy has 66 resistance and you penetrate 60 of their resistances, you still have 6 plus 6 penetration, plus 6 resistance on that enemy, right? But if you use this invert the rules gem, then what happens is that 50% of the time the enemy's resistances are going to be minus 66. So the difference you can see here, that minus 66 versus 6% constantly. Because it's a 50% chance, let us say that the boss are going to be at minus 33% resistance instead of minus 66% resistance, because of using the invert the rules. Even at that point, you are going to have much more penetration, approximately like 40 extra penetration, while using invert the rules. And obviously this is an expensive gem. I do not know about its price, but when I bought it for like 150 chaos or something, so it's definitely something that is a bit costly in terms of skill gems. So it is definitely better than elemental penetration support. That's, I'm using it. But if you do not want to buy this, I was using Ruthless prior to this, prior to actually Ancestral Call, and after Ancestral Call and 45, as I stated above. So this is another thing that's going on in this build. I'll leave you with some of the gameplay of how I've played this build. Make a decision based on that. I'm not a pro build maker. I mostly played this build because I looked at Luminary and I had nostalgia about the Mercenary League, and I really wanted to enjoy Luminary while having a permanent Mercenary at my side. And I am fine with it. I've done most of the time my league's kind of progression goes that get all the void stones. I only got like 2 yet. These 2 I have yet to get, these 2 void stones, but generally my gameplay is like get the 4 void stones and then just run tier 16 map Alkan Go and put on some like Atlas treat here. I'm currently doing what, bestiary, shrines, Settlers of Kalgor, and Searing Exarch. These are what I'm doing. You can do whatever the hell you want. This Frostblade build is pretty flexible in terms of balance, in terms of single target and as well as clear. It does both decently well. It is not the king in any of those departments, but it does both decently. So choose whatever Atlas strategy you would like. I'm not gonna be your person to tell you about that, but yeah, that's how the build is. Hopefully it helped you guys, gave you some information. If it didn't, well, what can I do at this point? Sorry for wasting your time. All right, but I'll leave you with some of the gameplays. Have fun. Bye.
The challenge begins. The champion will fall. Replica. Astral avalanche. Unexpected ownership.
Foolish maven, come to feed me, champion. Slaughter. Defiance of 1,000 suns. Terrible thought! Negligence. Patience is a mercy. Negligence. Intangible pain.
Don't bother dodging!
Explosive rapture. Forgive me. I was not myself.
You and I were allies once, even friends. Be still! Annihilate! I am everywhere! Will serve. And so will you! Open your mind! Every friendship becomes a betrayal.
Ready. Engulf. Belief and conviction shall free your mind. Open your heart. You deny a god.
Remember me? Here, Valdo had some ingenious designs hidden in his memories. Observe! Rayclass needs me! Valdo's designs were flawed. Do you remember dying here? You will. What are you? In this, the realm of the past, I am king, and you will bow. This one is my own creation. Light of salvation! Ah, plenty more where that came from. Face your destruction. Sin surrounds you. Impossible! How? This isn't over. This will never be over. I will unify humanity.
end. Frozen in time and space. For what purpose? What reason? Unmake. The Atlas is everything we see, and everything we do. In the depths of her mind, she wholly forged him. Means to an end. Burning synapses. For what purpose? What reason? Hubris, unyielding. The Atlas is everything we see, and everything we do. Means to an end. Power, absolute. dread shall not be erased so
by misery. Gaze into the abyss. A power.
Buy me some time.
Insignificant.
He's recovering. We need to find a way back quickly. Shit, Scott!
Behold the face of your unmaking!
Father, it's me. Let me help you.
The horror must be stopped. Obstacles destroyed!
Come to me.
Gaze into the abyss.
They're coming through.
Embraced by misery.
Come to me.
Failure.
You bloody
And
fool!
irrelevant!
He's injured, but not for long. We need to get back.
These memories are mine. I cannot lose them.
They lied to you, Father. I'm your true memory.
To save the future, the past must be sacrificed.
Stay close. They're coming through.